Hello, it's Colin, and welcome back to C&C 5. I was thinking about, after this morning's Supreme Court hearing, doing a C&C 5 on that, but then a arguably bigger piece of news dominated the conversation this afternoon, so that is what this edition of C&C 5 is about, because Special Counsel Robert Hur, the Special Counsel investigating Biden in his classified documents case, released his report today, and the investigation essentially fully exonerated President Biden. While it did say that there was some wrongdoing, none of it rose to criminal levels for anybody in this case. No evidence of criminal wrongdoing, even if there wasn't Department of Justice policy against charging a sitting president. Even if that policy did not exist, they still said that there was no evidence to charge Joe Biden with a crime. And he cooperated fully in this investigation. But in the special counsel's report, it did essentially a James Comey, where Robert Hur mentioned in the report that he called Biden a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, mentioned several times where Biden was unable to recall things such as exactly when his son had died. Again, this is not something that should be in this report. It is no relation to the case. It's not this guy's lane to be saying any of that stuff. No actual lawyer thinks that this should have been included. This feels a lot like a political hit job, and let's remember Robert Hur is a Republican. But of course, this is the only thing that the national media is able to focus on. Not the fact that he was completely exonerated, not the fact that he cooperated with the investigation. He spent over 5 hours in interviews with the special counsel. No, just that his memory is poor, according to this guy who's completely unqualified to make that assessment. I mean, they could have been focusing on how he was exonerated while Trump was charged with dozens of counts related to keeping special classified documents, right? There's a pretty big difference right there. They could have talked about the fact that while Biden cooperated, Trump not only did not cooperate, which he is within his right to do, but it attempted to obstruct all of the investigations into him at every step of the way. From the Mueller report onwards, every single investigation, Biden fully cooperated with this one. That's why the report was able to come out this soon. But of course, the media is just, well, Biden has a poor memory. Is he even fit? And that's not even mentioning the fact that Trump's memory isn't so great either, right? He said, I do not recall, over 400 times in a deposition. Does that mean that, according to Robert Hur, he has a poor memory? I don't know. Maybe, apparently not. But like Trump, he has literally confused his wife with the person that he allegedly raped, right? Confused his wife with the person that he allegedly raped. But come on and tell me more about how Joe Biden didn't remember the exact year in which his son died. I mean, come on. So Biden decided this evening to hold a press conference about this report. He came out looking pretty sharp. He gave an opening statement about how the investigation was over, showed no instances of wrongdoing for him, that he did have some regrets, that he wished that he had had more oversight of the transfer of documents at the end of his term as vice president. That was mostly done by staffers and was where most of the wrongdoing had taken place. Biden wished that he had had more oversight of that, but also essentially said, how dare the special counsel ask these questions about when my son died that has absolutely no relation to the case. And then he took a bunch of questions. The press corps did not meet the moment at all. They were extremely disrespectful to Biden and, frankly, to the office of the President of the United States, shouting over each other constantly, right? It was hard to hear anything because they were all just yelling each other down. And, I mean, all of their questions, they weren't any better. I mean, they were all of them about his age. Are you mentally fit to be president? Should you even be running again? Why can't some other Democrat do this job? And Biden's answer to that one was essentially, because I'm the most qualified person. And here's the thing. He's right. his record speaks for itself. He's passed the American Rescue Plan, which pulled the country out of the COVID pandemic, including with the economy, which is a big part of the reason that the economy is doing as well as it is right now. The Inflation Reduction Act, the largest investment in climate ever, as well as major legislation in healthcare and broadband all over the country. The bipartisan infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act. That one is the one that will increase semiconductor chip production in the U.S., which will allow the U.S. to compete with China and Taiwan. The PACT Act, protecting our veterans who were exposed to burn pits. He united NATO in response to Russia, including getting Finland and Sweden to join NATO. He passed the Respect for Marriage Act, codifying gay marriage into law, passed the Electoral Count Reform Bill, and the gun violence prevention bill, the largest step against gun violence in a generation. But yet the media is all like, are you even qualified? Are you mentally fit to be ready? Yes, he is. And Peter Doocy of Fox News was, of course, the one who was most going at Biden. And Biden's response was honestly he said his memory is so bad that he let Peter Doocy speak, which really shut Doocy up real quick. And near the end, he was called back for a question on Israel. He was starting to walk off. He willingly went back to the podium, and he made a bunch of news with this response. He called Israel's response over the top. This was the first time that he's done that. But then he also made one small mistake. He said that the president of Egypt was the president of Mexico, right? Small mistake, obviously not the best time to do it after the report comes out questioning your memory, but it's not like Donald Trump hasn't made so many gaffes like that all the time. I mean, he literally multiple times confused Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley. Those people are not difficult to get right. But Trump, of course, confused them. But now, after this entire press conference, what's the one thing that the media is talking about? The fact that Biden said that the president of Egypt was the president of Mexico. Not anything else discussed in the entire press conference, that he stumbled on a single word. I mean, what is the media doing here? I genuinely do not even know what to say about it. It's like they want Trump to get reelected. The way that the media treated both the news before the press conference, asking the questions in the press conference themselves, and then the response after the press conference felt less like actual questions that the nation needed to hear and more like them pushing their own personal beliefs towards the president and making him respond to them. It was just a complete failure by the White House press corps. We will, of course, have more on this on next week's episode of C&C Talks. We'll also talk about that Supreme Court hearing today, as well as much more. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. But for now, I'm Colin, and you've been listening to the C&C 5.